What's up guys? If you're a poker player who feels like they're underperforming right now, then this video will hopefully be very helpful for you. Now poker is a very results-based industry. It's almost like a sport and you have to perform at a high level to get rewarded. There's going to be some luck and some variance in the short term, but if you're not performing at a high level, you're going to suffer. You're going to get bad results and things are going to unravel very quickly. I just had a conversation with a player yesterday who feels like he's going through a period where he's just not living up to his expectations and he's not performing at a high standard. And it's causing a lot of inner problems. All players throughout their careers go through phases where they're just not performing. They're underperforming. The same as an athlete will go through weeks, months where their performance isn't to the standard they expect, and we have to learn to deal with that. So today, I'm going to talk about the levels of performance that you need to go through, and when you are underperforming, what you need to focus on. Alright, so first of all, we need to break performance down and your kind of results down into the actual results you get and how you're showing up. Alright, so when you're underperforming, you could be underperforming in terms of the results you're getting. So let's say you're on a 2-month downswing or a 2-month break-even stretch and your results just aren't what you want them to be. Your win rate's not what you want it to be and you're not getting the metric results that you think that you deserve. Alright, so that's one avenue. The second avenue of underperforming is in the way you're showing up. You're not showing up in the right way. You're not studying enough. Your daily habits and practices aren't good enough and you intuitively know that there's a better version of you that exists and you're just not putting in the effort that you're capable of. Alright, so we're going to approach it from both of those sides. So first of all, let's say your results, you're underperforming in terms of results. Let's just say you're going through a dry results patch, could be weeks, months, whatever, is frustrating you. But you're showing up in the right way. Alright, by showing up, I mean you're every day showing up, grinding, studying, performing at the best level you can, and you do everything you can. But you're underperforming because your metric in terms of results isn't what you want it to be. If that's the case for you, first thing you need to do is lower expectations. Alright, because if you're showing up in the right way, it's only a matter of time before you realize your results. Alright, I know variance can be a long-term factor. If you guys are playing MTTs, you might be like, alright Adam, variance can last forever. But for most players, variance will run its course and you will get a representation of your skill over time. Alright, so when results aren't coming good in the short term, you've got to remove that results pressure, low expectations in the short term. Alright, you've really got to get good at that game and not expecting to win, even if you do everything right. If you have the perfect warm routine, perfect studying, perfect playing for that session, still anything can happen and you've got to accept that it's not in your control. Alright, second thing you need to do is commit to the long-term process. Alright, rather than going for the short term and trying to win today, win this week, just think, where do I want to be a year from now? Where am I going to be 6 months down the line? Just keep showing up, keep showing up. And very often, you're so close to things turn around. I was working with a player a few months ago who was in a situation where he's really working hard for a number of months and it just felt like it just wasn't turning around. Then literally within the space of a week or 10 days, he had the best month of his career and then went on to have an even better month the next month. If you're showing up in the right way, it's only a matter of time before you get the results. Alright, so just commit to the long term, condition yourself to not judge your short term and only think about the long term results. And then double down on the process. Right? Even though you may be showing up in a good way, double down. Go right every single day. I'm gonna control the controllable variables and I'm gonna show up in the best way I can. Alright, so when results aren't showing up in the external, forget about all that and just double down on what you're doing. Right? Because you are performing at a high level and the metric you're using to judge that based on results is not gonna help you. Alright, so double down on that. So to recap, low expectations, commit to the long term and train your mind to think long term, and then double down on the process and fine tune what you're doing. Alright, so that's one area of underperforming. In all honesty, the area I really want to focus on for today's video is the other area where you underperform, and that is how you're showing up. Alright, so the conversation I had with the player a few days ago, he was saying, Adam, I'm just lacking confidence in my game because one, my results aren't very good, but I just haven't been showing up in the way I wanted to. I haven't been studying enough, I haven't been playing my best poker, and I just know that I haven't been performing well. As a result, my mind gets really active and it's really beating me up and it's telling me, well, I'm an idiot, why am I doing this? I don't deserve to get good results. And he's got this whole like negative inner dialogue going on because he knows he's capable of more and he hasn't been producing it. So if that's you, if you're not showing up, you know that you can do better, here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to realize that the mind's going to create a story narrative based on what you are doing, what it's observed. Most people's minds will tell themselves stories about the past and how they've been showing up. All right, so let's say you've had 6 months of messing around, not studying, not playing good poker. Your mind's going to create a narrative around that is you as a person. All right, and going forwards, you're going to struggle because when you're trying to make progress, your mind's going to tell you you don't deserve it. You're not working hard. You always procrastinate. You always do this. All right, so the first thing you need to do is create a new narrative for the mind. All right, what this means is rather than your old identity, the kind of character traits that have got you to where you are now, you need to create a new identity for yourself going forward. When I work with my poker athletes, I teach them how to build a whole new identity in the first module, which is all about self-awareness. But you need to learn how to create a new narrative. Who are you going to be going forward? All right, so rather than the mind fixating on what's happened in the past, what are you going to do going forward? Who do you want to be going forward? Really start to think about cultivating a future vision for yourself and what you're working towards, all right? Then you need to focus on becoming better every single day, all right? So regardless of what's happened in the past, if you're watching this video because you are underperforming right now, don't worry, drop all the stories and just literally in this moment, decide who you need to be going forward, the new identity, and then focus every day on getting better. How can I become a better version of myself one day at a time? For some of you guys, that might mean, okay, well, tomorrow I need to get in a 30-minute study session. I've been doing zero studying, so I need to do a 30-minute study session. Others will be fine-tuning your routines and fine-tuning how you're showing up. But think about, how can I become better? If you haven't been informed, what things can I do to get better? All right, and then decide on a full, or at least a partial, day plan of what you would need to do on a daily or weekly basis to prove to yourself that you're showing up in the right way. All right, so what do? What are the action steps you're taking? What time are you waking up? When are you studying? When are you grinding? What are your performance priming statements before you grind? How do you know if you're performing high level? What are the day-by-day things you're doing? All right, so what you're doing here, if we piece that together, you create a new thing to strive towards, which gives the mind a future objective to work towards rather than the old narrative. If you don't create a new narrative in your mind, guess what? The mind's got its own narratives, which are in the past, which is going to run and repeat and tell you why you can't achieve things. If you create a new identity, a new narrative, that's something to start striving towards. You then focus on the process of becoming better, so you don't judge the moment, you don't judge where you're at, and you focus on fine-tuning your skills and getting better day by day, and then you decide on exact action steps to make it very, very practical. And once you do those things in alignment, you can start to basically just live in the moment and start making progress. And if you are all underperforming at the current moment, fast forward a week, 2 weeks, a month, and following this process, all of a sudden, you're way better performer than you were a month ago. All right, so it's really getting into that state of how can I be getting better? How can I be striving towards something and not getting caught in the past? Most players who underperform, they get trapped in their own mind. In all honesty, they get trapped in telling themselves stories about why they're not good enough and why they're going to fail. And as a result, they've got no confidence, no belief, a lot of self-doubt, and it holds them back a lot. All right, so if you're not showing up, focus on those things. And if your results aren't going the way that you want them to, focus on the other three, which are lower expectations, commit to the long term, and double down on the process. All right, guys, hopefully that was helpful for you. If you did enjoy this video and you'd like to know more about this concept in particular, I've got a free PDF in the downloads below. You can download that and I'll send that straight to your email. It's the 8 skills you need to become a poker athlete. The first skill is self-awareness, where I taught you about how to build a new identity, build new character traits, and become the version of yourself that is performing at a high level. So if you're interested in that, download that in the description. All right, guys, that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching to the end, and there's plenty more coming from me very soon.